At my son's wedding, I tried to step forward, but his bride stopped me. "Step back, this moment is for family," she said, smiling for the cameras. I stood there, the man who had paid for every bill, treated like a stranger at the celebration I built. My hand gripped the gold watch in my pocket as the applause thundered, without me. The hum of the old ceiling fan filled the quiet of my Charleston home. I sat at the dining table where I'd balanced ledgers and bills for decades, a folder of wedding invoices spread open in front of me. My name appeared neatly typed across every page. "My name is Robert Hayes, 58, widower, small business owner. I didn't expect to be honored. I only wanted to be included." But what happened at my son's wedding still burns in my memory. Northeastern were proof of what I had done for my only son, Daniel. Catering, flowers, venue, jazz band, every cost carried my signature. I hadn't complained, not once. When my wife died 20 years ago, I had raised Daniel alone, packing his lunches, cheering from the stands, working 2 jobs to keep a roof overhead. Paying for his wedding felt less like a burden than a victory lap. Sarah, his bride-to-be, had been gracious at first, her smile bright enough to charm an entire room. But I'd seen something behind her careful words, a desire for control. She planned the wedding with precision, her parents hovering nearby, basking in her authority. Daniel, caught between us, smiled thinly whenever I offered help. "Dad, just relax," he'd say. "Everything's handled." I told myself not to take it personally. Weddings were stressful. Surely once the music played and the vows were spoken, the sacrifices would feel worthwhile. The gold watch rested in its velvet box beside me. Engraved with Daniel's initials, it was meant as my gift to him on the big day. Every time I opened the box, I ran a thumb over the inscription, rehearsing the blessing I hoped to give in front of family and friends. Aunt Linda's voice cut through my thoughts when she stopped by that afternoon. She had helped me with Daniel when he was young, and she knew me better than anyone. "You've done everything for that boy," she said, looking at the invoices. "Don't let them push you aside, Rob." I smiled, though it didn't quite reach my eyes. "It's his day, Linda. I just want to be there." Her reply was sharper. "Wanting to be there isn't enough. Make sure they see you." I closed the folder, resting my palm over it. The watch ticked softly, steady as my own pulse. Heart-pulse. Every sacrifice was worth it, if they let me stand beside him. The rehearsal dinner buzzed like a beehive, forks clinking, chairs scraping, a low hum of toasts that never reached my name. I stood, half out of my chair, and pointed toward the back of the ballroom where a column swallowed a table whole. "Aunt Linda won't see the couple from there," I said. "If we slide her up Sarah's smile didn't reach her eyes. "Robert, this is our wedding. Please, just enjoy your meal and leave the planning to us." The table cooled by several degrees. Daniel's jaw tightened. "Dad, just let it go. Don't make this awkward." I sat back down. The server poured water I didn't need. My napkin felt like a flag I'd already surrendered. "I thought family mattered," I murmured. Sarah's gaze flicked to the head table place cards, then back to me. "It does. That's why we're making decisions together." Linda squeezed my wrist under the tablecloth. "Steady, don't swing." The band tested a sax line that sounded like a laugh. The room, balancing a clipboard and a glossy print of the seating layout. She handed it to the MC, who leaned over Sarah and Daniel, nodding at their whispers. I rose again, softer this time. "If I can just check the family rows, I'll make sure my sister isn't blocked." Unfit the sheet with 2 fingers, as if it might smudge. "We've confirmed every seat. Comfort is handled." Daniel avoided my eyes. "Dad." 2 days until the vows," the MC announced into a handheld mic. "So tonight we'll keep it moving. Photos on the half hour." "To Duxie." The words hung like a clock over my plate. Linda leaned toward me. "Breathe." "I am," I said. "I've been breathing for 20 years." The MC drifted to the next table. The clipboard lay for a heartbeat on the edge. I reached just enough to see. Names marched like soldiers, my family clustered at the far rim. Table 27, near the door. "More comfortable there," Sarah said lightly to the MC, not to me. The assistant laughed on cue. Fingers found the velvet box in my jacket, the gold watch. I pressed the lid closed. The gift would wait. So would I. "Robert," Sarah said, voice warm enough for guests, "you've done so much already, let us handle the rest." Handling, I said, is different from erasing. Daniel's eyes flashed. Please, not tonight. Linda's chair creaked. He's the groom's father, she said, calm but sharp. Sarah smiled at her. And we're grateful, truly. Grateful, I said, isn't a seat by a column. The assistant returned to collect the layout. Before she could, I slid the corner toward me, scanning the legend, the tiny print, the ring of tables on the perimeter. I didn't argue. I didn't ask permission. I let the map etch itself into memory. Then I slipped a folded photocopy, left under a candle stub from an earlier run-through, into my jacket pocket with the watch. The MC clapped. To the happy couple. Glass chimed around us. I lifted my water and drank something that tasted like nothing at all. Linda bumped my shoulder. This feels wrong, she whispered. It's their night, I said. I'm just noting the view. She gave me a look. And I'll choose a better one. On the way out, the clipboard brushed past me again. I caught a glimpse of the perimeter tables, my name in small type, a door arrow pointing like a finger. I tapped my pocket once, the watch, the folded copy, and kept walking. We'll see, I said to the carpet. The rehearsal hall still smelled like rented flowers and furniture polish. A technician tested a mic with a thin check, and it echoed off the high plaster like a cough you couldn't ignore. I arrived early, folder under one arm, the gold watch heavy in my inner pocket, hoping to find my name where a father's name belongs. Tux blocked the aisle with his clipboard. He kept his thumb pressed to a laminated chart as if oxygen leaked out when he released it. Excuse me, I said. Family row? He flicked his eyes down the list, then up at me. Name? Receiver Hayes, groom's father. He held the laminated sheet at a polite tilt, just far enough that I couldn't touch it. You're at table 27, sir, near the exit. I forced a small laugh. That's a mistake. I leaned in, looking for the H's. I'm the groom's father. Punctuation the page with his pen. This is the master copy. A soft swish of fabric behind him, and Sarah slid into the frame. Even in a rehearsal dress, she seemed poured into the room, all glow and control. She laid 2 fingers on the usher's elbow, a claiming touch. It's right, she said, voice warm enough for the pews. We thought you'd be more comfortable in the back. Comfortable. The word hit like a hand to the chest. Daniel hovered a few feet away, adjusting cufflinks he didn't need, scanning anywhere but me. Dad, it's fine, he said, tone low. Let's not discharge, I asked, still looking at the chart. Not stand where a father stands? Sarah's smile didn't waver. We just want the flow to work. The front is tight with bridal party and immediate. I met her eyes. I am immediate. The usher shifted, caught between policy and trouble. Sir, if you'd... Aunt Linda came up beside me, steady as an oak. She didn't reach for the chart. She didn't have to. Her presence said witness. Show me where you've put the Hayes family, she said, polite, steel under velvet. The usher glanced to Sarah for permission. Sarah permitted a fraction of an inch. He slid the corner of the page into view. Names were printed in perfect rings around the ballroom. The head table glowed in the center like a small sun. Our names, mine, Linda's, the cousins who'd driven ours, clung to the far rim. Table 27 hugged a little arrow that read, Exit. Ha! Felt the watch against my ribs, its round face pressing into bone. A father's blessing, trapped behind glass. The MC's voice crackled at the front. Family, we'll start the processional run in 5. Ceremony begins at 4 tomorrow. Please gather near your assigned places. Tomorrow at 4? I repeated mostly to myself. Evidence loves a clock. The usher began to protest. Sir, no photos of staff documents. But it was too late. 1 click. The screen brightened, the chart, the usher's pen, the tiny arrow toward the door. At the top, the timestamp stamped its little truth, 3:58 p.m. I let the frame hold a beat, then slid the phone away, the image filed next to my pulse. Daniel swallowed. Dad, come on. One softened for the room. Robert, everyone will see fine. The back has a great view. The back has the door, I said. A cousin drifted close, pretending to fix a boutonniere, ears wide open. Murmurs rose and fell, little fish nibbling. Keep rehearsal pleasant, Sarah said, still glossy. We have a schedule. I looked at my son. Daniel? He fiddled with a cufflink that wasn't crooked. Please, he whispered. Not today. The four of us formed a medal. My son, his bride, the usher holding the holy sheet. Linda reached and touched my sleeve. One tap. I could hear the watch ticking now, or imagined I could. Sometimes a heartbeat sounds like a clock. Sir, the usher asked, if you'll make your way to the unleashed to table 27, I said, by the exit of my son's wedding. Sarah lifted her chin a degree. We've confirmed every seat. Comfort is handled. Comfortable, I said, tasting the word. It didn't taste like anything I wanted. Linda leaned closer, voice low. I'm here, Rob. I know, I said, and I'm not moving. A bridesmaid in sneakers trotted by, trailing double-sided tape and hairspray, glanced at our cluster and quickened her steps. The band noodled a line of jazz and stopped mid-phrase as the MC waved them quiet. Positions, please, the MC called. Parents can take their assigned rows. I looked at the chart one last time. The print didn't argue. The arrow stayed an arrow. I said, stepping back. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't make a scene. I put my hand over my pocket until I felt the outline of the phone, the smooth circle of the watch through the lining. Proof and blessing, two truths held tight. Robert, Sarah said, a public smile married to a private warning. We want this to be easy. Copy, I said, isn't the same as right. Daniel's jaw worked. Dad, please don't do this. I met his eyes. Son, I've done 20 years of this. I can handle one more moment. He flinched. The usher shifted again. The MC cleared his throat, a metronome for good behavior. Family, Sarah said, turning to include a few onlookers. Let's move on. We're all very grateful to Robert for everything he's done, truly, and we'll make sure he has a great view. Grateful, I said, is not a seat on the rim. Mr. Hayes, the usher tried, if you'll follow me, chin and let the room take me in. The rented chairs, the borrowed flowers, the faces that would later swear they hadn't heard, hadn't seen. I didn't need their eyes. I had the photo. Heart pulse, comfortable? I raised him alone. Now I'm exiled at the door. Linda's hand left my sleeve. She didn't pull, she didn't push. She just made sure I knew she was there. I'm the groom's father, I said, clear and clean, a clapback line sharper than the MC's mic. A few heads turned. A young cousin's mouth fell open and then shut. Sarah's smile narrowed. And you'll still see fine from the back. The band leader rubbed a cloth over his trumpet as if shining it could wipe the air. Someone laughed at the wrong moment. The room heard itself and went quiet. I let the quiet sit. Then I nodded once. Fine. I stepped aside, not toward front, just one deliberate move that said I wasn't conceding anything except the moment. My phone buzzed a calendar ping against my ribs, the echo of the timestamp still bright behind my eyelids. Tomorrow at 4, the MC had said. 4. The number clicked into place with the watch's tick. Aunt Linda leaned in, her voice just above a breath. You're not invisible, Rob, not to me. I kept my eyes on the chart a heartbeat longer, then on my son, who still wouldn't look at me. I felt smaller than the watch in my pocket, and heavier than the folder under my arm. I bent toward Linda's shoulder and whispered, if they want me invisible, I'll make sure they see me. The house was too quiet. I spread the invoices across the dining table, one after another, neat little rectangles of sacrifice, bank transfers, catering deposits, the venue retainer. Every slip carried my name. Teal, the wall clock over the fridge, ticked just past 10 p.m. It sounded louder than usual, like it wanted to remind me how little time was left. 2 days until the wedding. A knock startled me. I opened the door to find Linda holding a paper grocery sack. She brushed past me before I could ask. You look pale at dinner, she said, setting the bag on the table with a thump. So I brought coffee and fruit. You'll need both. Table. I need respect more than I need bananas. Her eyes swept the invoices, her brow rising. You kept all this? I paid every bill, Linda. Someone should remember that. She picked up one paper and read aloud. Hayes, Robert, amount paid, and still they shove you behind a column. I sat, rubbing the bridge of my nose. Daniel didn't even look at me when Sarah said it. Round, she corrected, which means he saw it and couldn't face you. Some defense, shudder forward, palms on the table. So make them face what you've got. You think she can erase you with a smile, put your name in ink in front of them? I looked at the folder I'd labeled proof in thick black marker. My fingers lingered on the tab. Linda tapped the pile with one sharp nail. Make them read it. I gave a tired laugh. And if respect won't be given, then take it. Her words stayed with me after she left. I stacked the invoices into the folder, pressed the binder clips down tight, and slid it across the table. My laptop screen glowed. With 3 keystrokes, scans lined up like soldiers in formation, each tagged with my name. I didn't need a courtroom, just clarity. The wall clock ticked again, louder now. The gold watch lay beside the folder, gleaming under the lamp. Proof and promise, side by side. Heart pulse. If respect won't be given, I'll claim it with proof. I snapped the folder shut, whispered, let them pretend, it won't last. The caterer's office sat on the corner of King Street, tucked between a florist and a bakery. The bell above the door jangled as I stepped in, folder tucked under my arm. The place smelled of strong coffee and lemon cleaner, and the buzz of a printer carried from the back room. A young assistant looked up from her screen. Help you? Robert Hayes, groom's father. I set the folder on the counter. I'd like to speak to whoever handles the accounts. She blinked, disappeared into the back. A minute later, a woman in a navy blazer emerged, glasses low on her nose. She carried herself like someone who had seen 100 weddings and preferred to forget most of them. Mr. Hayes, she said carefully. Everything all right? Administer. I opened the folder and slid the invoice forward. I need a duplicate, marked with payer name and timestamp. The bride's family told us their account, my account. My voice came firmer than I expected. My bank wired every dollar. She paused, studying me, then the paper. The silence stretched. I tapped the counter once with my finger. Policy requires a signature for reprints, she said finally. Then bring me a pen. Her lips twitched, half frown, half concession. She pulled a blue pen from her pocket and laid it down. I signed the request line with deliberate strokes, pressing harder than necessary. The copier whirred to life. The sound was almost smug. She retrieved the duplicate as it slid warm from the tray and set it before me. Windshield. There, she said. Paid in full, Robert Hayes. Timestamped this morning. The numbers at the bottom corner glowed like a tiny verdict. 9:02 a.m. I folded the sheet and slipped it into my proof folder. My hand brushed the velvet box in my jacket, the gold watch pressing steady against my chest, a weight both blessing and reminder. Demolished, I tapped the folder. That'll do. She hesitated, fingers still on the original file. Strange, she murmured almost to herself. Bride's family insisted otherwise. Said they were covering everything. The words made me pause. I looked her in the eye. Paper doesn't lie, even if people do. Behind me, a wall clock ticked like it was keeping score. She followed my gaze and added, menus locked tomorrow morning. That's the deadline. Publish is 1 day left for them to pretend. 1 day left for me to collect every receipt. I patted the folder, then the watch in my pocket. Evidence and legacy, proof and promise. As I reached the door, I thought I heard her mutter again. Strange family, she said. I didn't answer. I pushed into the Charleston sunlight, folder tight under my arm, the clock still ticking in my head. Tangled pulse, paper doesn't lie, even if people do. Patiently smelled faintly of takeout and new paint. A game droned low on the TV, crowd noise spilling down the hallway. He opened the door a few inches, then wider when he saw the folder under my arm. Dad? Now? It won't take long. I stepped in, the door clicking shut behind me. The folder felt heavier than it should. I wanted to talk, just us. He rubbed the back of his neck. We're swamped. Rehearsal, pickups, Sarah's at the salon. I won't keep you. I set the folder on the counter and didn't open it. I need you to hear me, not look at paper. He eyed the spine like it could bite. Is this about the seating? We already fixed what could be fixed. You put me by the exit. He exhaled through his nose. It's not like that. What is it like? He glanced toward the bedroom as if an answer might be hiding in there. It's optics, okay? Her parents, it's complicated. Complicated becomes erasing when you smile while you do it. His phone buzzed on the counter. A calendar banner slid across the screen in clean blue type. Ceremony, tomorrow 4 p.m. He thumbed it away like a fly. Tay nodded at the screen. Clock's ticking. That's exactly why I can't do this, he said. Dad, please, don't start something. I'm not starting anything. I'm finishing a promise. I tapped the folder but still didn't open it. I raised you to know the difference between gratitude and pretending. Please don't make this harder. He lowered his voice as if the neighbors might hear. Sarah just wants the day to feel smooth. Smooth for who? For everyone, he said. And even he heard how weak it sounded. Son, I kept my tone level. I taught you to stand up, not stand aside. His jaw set. You taught me to take care of the people I love. I'm doing that. By letting them push me to the door? You're reading too much into. I can read. My name is on every bill. He stared at the folder like it was a lit fuse. If you want credit, I'll... And the paced once, 2 steps down the galley kitchen, then back. If you show up with that stuff, he nodded at the folder, you'll blow up my wedding. I didn't blow anything up. I tapped my chest. The gold watch chain bit my finger where it looped in my pocket. I tucked it deeper so it wouldn't flash. I paid for a day you don't want me in. That's not fair. It's accurate. We picked up the phone, set it down, picked it up again. Look, he said softer. He've told a lot of people they covered things. It matters to them. Their friends are in town. And your father doesn't matter? That's not what I said. It's what you're living. He shut his eyes for a beat. Can we not do this today? I slid the folder an inch closer to him and still didn't crack the cover. I'm asking you to look at me and say what's true. No crowd, no MC, a spine like it could drag him under. If I look, I can't unsee it. Then I have to choose. Reddy chose. Suck. Flinched. Silence piled up in the small room. Dad, he said finally, please, don't bring that to the ceremony. I'm not bringing it to the ceremony. His shoulders loosened, then tensed again at my tone. Promise? I'll be there, I said. That's my promise. The phone vibrated again, a sharper tone. A message preview flashed. Sarah, are you with him? Daniel's thumb shot to the screen. He flipped the phone face down so fast it skittered an inch across the counter. We both watched it settle. You should answer her, I said. He swallowed. I will. I'm leaving this closed, today. I tucked it under my arm, same place I used to tuck his backpack when he fell asleep in the car. But hear me, ignoring the truth won't make tomorrow smooth. It makes it fragile. His lips pressed into a line. I need to get ready. Arable. I know. He walked me to the door because that's what a decent son does, even when he's hiding. His hand hovered over the knob. I always showed up for you, I said. No, he said. And it sounded like an apology. He didn't have the courage to finish. The phone buzzed again on the counter. He didn't look. He opened the door. I stepped into the hall. The light out there was colder. He kept his voice low. Please, Dad, don't make this worse. I'm not the one making it worse. He managed a small, frayed smile, then glanced past my shoulder toward the stairwell. Anywhere but my eyes. The phone buzzed a third time. He half-turned as if to go back, then paused with the door between us. Heart pulse. I taught him loyalty, and now it shields her, not me. The phone lit again, a new banner blooming white through the glass. He reached back, scooped it up, angled the screen away so I couldn't see, and held the door. Good night, he said. I nodded. Tay paused, swallowed, and closed it softly in my face. The sun was just climbing past the oaks when I carried the folder into Linda's kitchen. Her house always smelled like cinnamon toast and strong coffee, 2 things she believed solved most problems. Not this one. I dropped the folder on her table with a solid thud. We need to go through it again. Rob, she sighed, setting down her knife after buttering toast. It's your son's wedding day. Shouldn't you be ironing a tie instead of shuffling papers like an accountant? I opened the folder, ignoring her tone. Invoices spilled in a neat fan. Catering, flowers, venue, band. My name typed, stamped, signed. They've stolen my name, but not my record. She pulled one sheet closer, tracing the signature with her finger. Robert Hayes, again and again. You weren't kidding. I wasn't. I tapped the paper. This is truth. Truth doesn't always win, she said softly, especially against a smile. I pulled the gold watch from my pocket and wound it slowly until the tick filled the silence. Each click seemed louder than her spoon against the mug. They can borrow a day. They don't own my ledger. Linda shook her head, half admiring, half worried. So, what's the grand finale? Hand these out with the cake? When the time is right, I straightened the stack, not before. She pressed. Until then, they stay sealed. I snapped the folder shut and tapped the spine. But you saw it. That matters. Her eyes met mine, steady, loyal. I'll swear to it, in front of whoever asks. That's why I came here, I said. I needed a witness who can't be bought. Above her sink ticked to 8. Morning light slanted across the table, striping the papers. Less than 12 hours to vows. The countdown lived in every shadow. She leaned back. You're sure about this? Rob, if you torch that reception, Daniel may never forgive you. I exhaled, slow and heavy. He already hasn't. He shut the door on me last night. She flinched. He's scared. Sarah, she runs that show. And he lets her. I pressed the folder flat with my palm, so I'll run mine. Her voice softened. He's still your boy. He is. I swallowed, feeling the weight of the watch against my chest. That's why I'm not letting him marry into a lie. She studied me for a long moment, then placed her hand over mine on the folder. When the lights go out, she whispered, truth will shine. Unleashed at her, then at the clock, the ticking like a second heartbeat in the room. Heart pulse. They've stolen my name, but not my record. The venue office was cooler than the Charleston air outside, the hum of an overworked air conditioner filling the silence. A wall clock hung over the manager's desk, its hands pointing just past 11. Less than 5 hours until vows. The manager, a trim man with wire glasses, slid a contract binder toward me. You wanted to review your file, Mr. Hayes? I flipped to the last page. The service clause. It says the contracting payer may revoke services up to the minute, correct? Unleashed his tie. Yes, but it's rarely exercised. It can disrupt an event. The payer, the call is mine. Gellister. It is. Legally, you can halt services. But understand, doing so once guests are present would create chaos. His words hang. Chaos was the point. Read it aloud, I said. His voice carried the line like scripture. The contracting payer retains authority to revoke or modify services until conclusion of the contracted event. The wall clock ticked once, loud in the pause. My phone buzzed in my pocket, Daniel's name glowing on the screen. I let it ring out. I closed the binder and stood. That's all I needed. Phased on my way through the corridor, a bridesmaid brushed past, hair still pinned in rollers. She glanced at the folder under my arm. Are you with catering staff? Service hallways that way. She pointed toward a metal door with a loud latch. I'm the groom's father, I said flatly. Her eyes widened, cheeks pink. Oh, sorry, She hurried off, heels clicking against tile. The latch thudded as the door swung behind her. I stood there a moment, the sound echoing. Staff. That's what they saw. Back in my truck, I pulled a pad from the glove box and wrote in block letters. 12 o'clock. Call trigger. The gold watch ticked in my pocket as I underlined it twice. Heart pulse. They can lie about me, but not the fine print. The ballroom throbbed with bass from the speakers as the band tuned up. Cymbals shimmered, then cut off sharp. The stagehands shuffled cables across the parquet floor. I stood near the curtain, folder under my arm, watching, waiting. Crowned, a small voice piped up behind me. My cousin's boy, barely 20, glanced at the clipboard I carried. Uncle Rob, are you with the setup crew? Looks like staff back here. I stared at him, heat rising. I'm the groom's father. His face colored. Oh, sorry, you're back here with the gear. Exactly where I belong, I muttered, and he drifted off, shoulders hunched. The bass thumped again, vibrating through my chest. I pressed the gold watch in my pocket until my knuckles hurt. They kept mistaking me for staff, and maybe that was the point. Erase me until I erased myself? Not today. Stabilized band leader approached, trumpet under one arm, clipboard in the other. You're Robert Hayes? Miraculous, dotted. The one who paid your invoice. He shifted his weight. Everything settled, we're set for downbeat at 4. I lowered my voice. If I call it, you stop. He had A's. He frowned. Sir, we're contracted to play. Contract reads payer holds authority until end of event. That's me. He hesitated, glancing at his musicians. If this blows back, it will, on me. And I'm telling you now, if I say stop, you stop. The trumpet slid in his grip. Even mid-song, restless, mid-song, I tapped my watch against his clipboard, the tick sharp against the wood. You stop when I say stop. His lips pressed into a line. Finally, he gave one short nod, no words. At that exact moment, my phone chimed, bright and insistent. Noon, the alarm I'd set. The sound echoed against the rafters, a private bell only I cared about. I silenced it and underlined the note in my pocket pad. 12 o'clock, call trigger. Linda's voice reached me from the wings. Rob, are you sure you want this weight? I met her eyes. It's already mine. The band shifted into another sound check run, but the leader's glance toward me was different now. He knew. Heart, pulse. Every note they play carries my name first. Inch the house held its breath. Only the tick of the wall clock above my desk and the faint hum of the desk lamp broke the silence. I set the folder down with the care of a surgeon prepping instruments. Tonight wasn't about rage. It was about precision. I opened a yellow legal pad and wrote 4 names in block letters. Catering, florist, venue, band. Beside each, I penciled in exact times. Noon, 12:15, 12:30. A sequence, not a storm. The phone screen lit my face pale blue as I scheduled alarms, each one a different chime so I wouldn't mistake them. A bell for the caterer, a trumpet for the band, a sharp buzz for the florist. I let the wall clock's steady tick join in, percussion for my plan. The gold watch came out of my pocket and into my palm. I wound it slowly, listening to its tick sync with the alarms. They wanted me gone. Tomorrow I'll be unforgettable. Zezd, Daniel's name glared on the screen. My hand stiffened before I answered. Kang. Dad. His voice was clipped, breath hot with something more than nerves. What the hell are you doing? Position to you too. Stimulates a call. Sarah said you've been running around to vendors. You cornered the caterer, the band. What are you trying to pull? I'm clarifying the truth. Clarifying? His laugh was hollow. They said you're threatening to shut everything down. I didn't threaten. I reminded them who paid, who holds the right to call it. Unleashed Dad. I could hear him pacing, the phone brushing fabric. Do you have any idea what this looks like? You'll make me a joke tomorrow. Daniel, I said, voice even. The joke was seating me at the door of my own son's wedding. He went silent, the line buzzing faintly. Silent every time Sarah erased me. I went on. At rehearsal, at dinner, when I brought the watch, you stood there. You let it happen. Harpened. Don't pin this on me. I'm trying to keep peace. Pecked a short laugh. Peace isn't silence. It's justice. Pharmaceutical. His tone cracked. Don't humiliate me tomorrow. Humiliation. I let the word hang. I've been seated at the exit, silenced at the mic, erased from the guest list. If there's humiliation, it's already mine. Dad. No, son. She already has. The silence that followed was heavier than words. I could hear him breathing ragged, torn between me and her. Finally, he said, if you love me, you'll stop. I closed my eyes. I do love you. That's why I can't. The line clicked, dead. His name vanished from the screen. I stared at the black glass until it reflected my own face back at me. Almost immediately, the phone buzzed again, softer this time. Linda, I answered. You set it up, she asked, her voice steady but low. Yes. Trigger list, alarms, everything. You're sure about this? I'm past sure. She exhaled, a sound half prayer. Then I'll be there when you need me. I slid the list into the proof folder, sealing it under the invoices and receipts. The gold watch ticked steady in my palm. The wall clock climbed toward 8. The phone chimed its test alarms in order, one after another, crisp as a metronome. Ty lifted the watch close to my ear and whispered, "Tomorrow, the watch stops for them." The phone's banner lit my dark kitchen. Ceremony, today 4 p.m. I stood in my shirt sleeves, steam from the iron lifting in little ghosts, while the wall clock ticked like a metronome I hadn't asked for. I set the iron down, opened the velvet box, and polished the gold watch with the corner of a handkerchief until the crystal caught the morning light. Phone rang. Daniel. Minimized. Mansard. Morning? Dad? He said. No hello, just breath and panic. Please don't start anything today. I'm not starting anything, his voice thinned. Promise me you'll behave, son. I kept my tone flat. That's all I promise. Soam. Silence. Then a faint double beep bled through his end. Another phone close to his. Sarah. I could hear him turn his head away from the receiver. What did she say? I asked. Nothing. He lied too fast. Just be cool, okay? You keep the list, I said. I'll keep my name. He sighed, the sound of a towel wrung dry. I have to go. The line clicked. I dressed, slid the watch into my pocket, and tucked the proof folder and trigger list into the satchel I wasn't planning to open. Not today. Not yet. I locked the door behind me. The church lobby smelled of lilies and furniture polish. Volunteers ferried programs to baskets and whispered over a clipboard. A greeter in a blue blazer smiled at me, kind eyes, efficient hands. Vendors to the left, sir, she said, pointing at a metal door with a heavy latch. Service hallways quicker. Fashion groom's father, I said. Communicated, oh, of course, I'm so sorry. She pointed the other way, past a sign that read, family seating, that way. Is it? I asked, not moving. A choir warmed up beyond the doors, soft vowel sounds, a scale that rose and thinned into air. The greeter shifted embarrassed and busied herself with programs. The metal door thudded as someone slipped through, and the sound echoed in my chest longer than it should have. Daniel materialized from the corridor, tie slightly crooked, eyes already tired. Dad, he glanced at the greeter, then at me. Thanks for coming early. As opposed to what? I said. He rubbed his temple. His phone buzzed. He checked it too quickly. The angle of his shoulders changed. Sarah had texted. It didn't take a timestamp to read a command. Weeke, he said, soft, diplomatic. We've got a lot of moving pieces. Just take a spot where the coordinator puts you, please. Back where the moving pieces are stored? I asked. I know the door. Kook, do that. He forced a smile that never reached his eyes. It's a small space up front. For family, I said. Once. We're all family, he offered, the kind of sentence people say when they're about to make you an exception. Tekninda stepped out of the flow, straightened my lapel with exact fingers and nodded to Daniel. She didn't scold him, she didn't hug me, she just made sure I stood straight. I'll find my seat, I told Daniel. You find your spine. He flinched. Dad, I'll be there, I said again, and let him go. The coordinator clapped for attention on the other side of the doors. Quick counts, names, titles. The choir shifted to a hymn introduction, and someone shushed a too loud laugh. I took one step toward the sanctuary, then stopped. In the glass of a framed announcement, I caught my reflection, older, sure, but standing. I drew out the watch and buffed the crystal once more, circular, like honing a blade. I could feel the weight of the day gather, like a front rolling in off the water. Heart pulse. They can hide me in shadows, but I will not vanish. Away, breathe once and walk toward the doors. They can hide me, I whispered, but I will not vanish. The ballroom lobby had that pre-ceremony hush, a layer of perfume over nerves. Program baskets lined the rail. Beyond the doors, the quartet picked at a warm-up, soft as breath. Daniel stood near a planter, tux jacket unbuttoned, scrolling his phone like it held safer worlds. 2 minutes, a coordinator whispered to someone passing fast. The word felt like a clock hand scraping glass. Pep to the rail. Son, he glanced up startled. Dad, now isn't... It'll take 10 seconds. I slipped a single page from my folder, the caterer invoice duplicate, and held it where only he could see. My name at the bottom, ink clean as a bell. His eyes flicked down, then up the hall, then back. What are you doing? Unable you see what's true. His shoulders eased a fraction. He reached, hesitated, fingertips brushing the corner. Hope. It shocked me how fast it hurt. I thumbed the engraving on the watch in my pocket and kept my voice level. Copy, I'll text it, I said, so no one can say you didn't know. Dad, he warned, but he didn't move away. I opened our thread, lifted the page just enough for the camera. The message window framed clean lines in my signature. I hit send. His phone buzzed immediately. A banner bloomed across his screen. Our thread with the thumbnail of the invoice and the little gray text beneath it. 3:27 p.m. He stared, the air between us suddenly fragile. Robert, a voice cut in, lacquered bright. Sarah. She slid between us without touching either. Smile turned to the room, eyes on me. Daniel, the photographer needs you with your parents. Your other parents. The last words carried velvet and knife in equal measure. Daniel swallowed. 1 minute. She didn't look at the paper in my hand. She didn't need to. Whatever this is, she said, still smiling for the passing guess. Save it for later. It already is later, I said, low enough not to travel, sharp enough to land. He hasn't seen anything you didn't stage. E. A is running more. Much like being away over, is now as there so different so's. Time that. We're getting in the work. A true A. N. A. Elated out. On your favor faction tasting. Undaption so. A not to guard name. On your listen A. We're not doing this. Yes. You. S. On your listen. You. S. On your standard. You. 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 You on your standard. You are your listen. You we're saying. You. 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 You are your hour of word. You and your brand with me. You are your left. You. You are your left. You. You are your left. You on your favor faction. You are your brand for resume. You are your left. You on your favor faction. You. You. You are your left. You on your favor faction. You. 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 You are your favor faction. You. You are your job. You on yourself, you Ingham. You are your job. You on your marking. You are your favor. You are your brand for resume. You are your left. You. You are your broading. You. 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 You are your brand for your. You. 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 You are your brand. You. 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 You are your home or meet it. You. 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 You are you. 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 You are you. 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 Also Dodd, Wes. Also Dodd, Wes, purposing on your list. A normal. I want favor back to the new, increase all friends, that aggregating a new mex, into munch one, that how could D people are new. And here his chime, as when he look, okay? I'm sorry, buddy. Okay. If it's 5 years and now, and after them now are I saved, in here he look, ass. Okay, I know the same. I hope some. And a strong up so, ass high. In here he look. I know the same. Owls the back said, oh, ass. Owls the back said, oh, ass one, ass how. One, ass are. Only confuses our look. There are their work. Ass, ass, arn. Fashionly word, don't be had ass one contact, and that works for people with talkers. And limit he is here, has not just the same, and now in COVID. Even I want dough, as you're not turned out, but dot is in shell. Lowing tups today, when I weigh from seeking reds. That is a Nordis is not, that is shipped, and that is favor, ass. A day I did don't know. Ass one seeking reds will be Lord. Ass one would become. Ass one was happy too. Ass one was. Ass one won. Ass one was well. Ass one was well. Ass one his resources. Ass one was raised in. Ass one was now. Ass one won. 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 Ass one was raised. Ass one won. Take. Heart pulse. Hope is crueler than silence. Please, he repeated softer. He didn't open the message. He didn't delete it either. He let Sarah guide him down the hall. Please, not today, he whispered. The sanctuary doors breathed cool air every time they opened. Programs rustled like a field in wind. Lilies and perfume built a sweet edge that made my throat tight. At the threshold, an usher in a tux held a stack of programs, the top one printed in bold at the heading, Ceremony, 4 p.m. Somewhere, a single bell struck the hour. Parents of the groom, seated? The coordinator called from inside. A voice, harried, confident, answered without turning. Father accounted for, in back. I stepped forward. I'm here, I said, front row. The usher slipped sideways, a gentle block that turned firm when I didn't stop. Sir, please, assign seating. I'm the groom's father. Yes, sir, and you're on the list for the rear section. He lifted the program just enough for me to see the heading again, 4 p.m., as if the time itself validated the decision. The choir swelled behind him. The room inhaled as one. Linda's hand brushed my sleeve. Rob? I moved another inch. The usher's palm found my chest. Not a shove, a placement, an instruction written on skin. I felt the weight of the gold watch in my pocket. My fingers found the chain and gripped until the links bit a crescent into my palm. Let me through, I said. I can't peer it on Daniel's arm. Radiant, the aisle about to bow to her. She didn't look at me first. Sarah looked at the audience. Then she let her gaze slide, light as lacquer, to where the usher's hand held me. The smallest smile touched the corner of her mouth. Please keep the entrance clear, she told the usher, which sounded like kindness and worked like command. Eyes grazed mine, then skittered away. I took a breath and kept my voice low so only he would hear. One word, son, and I'm through. His throat worked. Not now. Now past me, to the guests, to the photographer, anywhere but into my face. Quarterbacks found its chord. The coordinator lifted a hand. We're starting. So no one else would catch it. One day, the lights will cut your smile. She didn't answer, not with words. She turned her head a fraction, dismissal like a curtain. We're ready, she told the coordinator, and the world obeyed. Blasted herself at my side, jaw set. He's his father. Sher's eyes softened, then hardened again. Ma'am, I'm following the chart. A father erased in plain sight, I said, heart pulse. A guest I barely knew put a hand on my elbow. Sir, maybe. I'll stand, I said, and you'll witness. Applause rose from inside as the first pair started down the aisle. The usher's palm stayed firm against my chest. I could feel my own pulse bashing against the heel of his hand. The program's white edge caught a slice of light. 4 p.m. glared up like a verdict. Daniel and Sarah moved past the threshold. He didn't reach for me. She didn't need to. They stepped into the music together, and the doors pulled wider to swallow them. "Sir," the usher said, soft but immovable, "please." Linda's fingers found mine and squeezed once. I didn't squeeze back. My free hand wouldn't let go of the chain. The links had already stamped their small, bright pain into my skin. Applause swelled. I remained at the line where the cool air ended and the heat of the crowd began, held there by a stranger's palm and my son's silence. The usher's hand didn't lift. The doors closed. The sanctuary was thick with perfume and lilies, the kind of sweetness that clings and suffocates. I slipped through the door just before it latched and took my place in the shadows at the back. Light filtered through stained glass, painting the aisle in fractured reds and blues. The officiant's voice carried clean and strong. "Parents of the couple, please stand with us to bless this union." The words hit my chest harder than the usher's hand the night before. I straightened, one step forward. A tuck-sleeved arm shifted into my path. The usher, young and polite, held his ground. "Sir, back row only, please." I tilted my chin toward the front. "I am the groom's father." "Yes, sir, and the chart says back row." Punished his program to check a name. Across the top, in heavy type, "Ceremony, 4 p.m. The minute struck on the wall clock above the choir loft as if to drive the point home. Linda's whisper reached me. "Rob, careful." I didn't lower my voice. "One nod," I called softly to Daniel at the altar. "Son, just one nod." His shoulders stiffened. He half turned, eyes brushing mine, then sliding away as though I were a stranger. His lips moved around 2 words, "Not now." "Now is when it counts," I answered. Sarah pivoted just enough for the crowd to catch her kindness. "I think it's best if Robert doesn't join us," she said, voice bright and public. "This moment is for family." Unleashed, the word turned blade. A ripple of discomfort passed through the pews, the kind that avoids contact but pricks just the same. The usher shifted closer, his sleeve brushing mine. "You can't erase a father," I murmured, low, meant for her alone. Her eyes held mine for half a heartbeat before turning back to the officiant. The line had landed, but the room believed her. The officiant hesitated, then moved briskly into the vows, grateful for the cue. My phone buzzed in my pocket, a muted insect. The alarms I'd scheduled for tomorrow's calls were already rehearsing themselves. Wrong place, wrong second. I pinched the fabric, silenced the chime. The gold watch ticked. Too loud in the pause. My palm still carried the half-moon marks of its chain. "Love is patient, love is kind," the officiant read. The scripture echoed while a guest in the second row glanced back, caught my presence, and flinched like I was out of place. The couple's parents were invited to stand. Sarah's mother and father rose, glowing under stained glass. Their figures fit the light. Mine did not. The empty space where I should have been felt colder than stone. I tried again, leaning forward. "Let me stand with my son." An usher's hand hovered, not forceful, but undeniable. "Sir, please." Daniel's gaze finally touched mine, brief as lightning. "Please," he whispered. His throat worked. He didn't move. Heart pulse. They said family and cut me out of the word. Linda's hand found my arm. "Not here," she begged. The officiant resumed. "Do you take this woman?" Words rolling without me. The ushers edged, subtle as tide, guiding me toward the doors. Each step back made the applause louder. When the ring exchange drew cheers, the sound hit my spine before it hit my ears. I looked one last time at Daniel. His lips pressed into silence, his hand stayed in hers. "I'm sorry, sir," the usher whispered. "I am too," I replied. The door met my shoulder. Cold air from the lobby swept in. The sanctuary roared behind me, applause for a future that excluded me. The usher's hand was steady, almost kind, as the door eased shut. The seam of light narrowed, then vanished. The room clapped on without me. The reception crackled like a power line in summer. Glasses chimed, guests laughed too loudly, and the band stitched the room together with brass and swing. Edison bulbs glowed honey over the tables. Staff threaded through with trays as if nothing all day had been crooked. My phone gave the silent shiver I'd set for myself. No chime, no show, just a private pulse in my pocket. Take, go. Geeter's eyes and drew my finger clean across the air. Trumpet cut mid-note. Guitar dropped into silence. A cymbal sighed itself out. Conversation hiccuped, then stalled. Heads turned toward the stage. Sarah's smile held, the way stage smiles do. Only her eyes sharpened. Daniel scanned cables that weren't broken, faces that wouldn't explain. Venue manager hustled to the mic, posture crisp. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, voice steady and amplified, "we're pausing services at the direction of the contracting payer." A ripple moved through the room. "Payer?" Someone near the bar repeated. "What's that mean?" Sarah half laughed toward the crowd. "All fine. Please keep enjoying." The manager angled the mic away from her. "Per the contract, authority rests with the payer." He looked at me, not unkind. I stepped forward, the gold watch warming my palm. I set it on the mic stand and tapped the crystal once. Not loud, enough for me to feel the weight of my name. Daniel reached me first. "Dad, don't do this." "You asked me not to humiliate you," I said, my voice carrying without the mic. "You let them humiliate me." Not flushed. It's swiped to the image and turned the screen outward so the nearest tables could see. The photo glowed. The usher's seating chart, the arrow to the exit, my name marooned at the rim. At the top, the timestamp sat crisp as a verdict. "This was yesterday," I said. "This is where they put me." Aunt Linda's voice cut clean from 3 tables over. "I watched him take that photo, and I watched them deny him the mic." Guest duration. Someone near Sarah's parents whispered, "He's the father." Someone else, "Who paid for all this?" Sarah's father started forward, color gone high in his cheeks. "This is uncalled for." "Called for," the manager said, firm, back on mic. "The payer may halt or modify services at any time." He glanced to me. "Mr. Hayes?" I held the phone a beat longer, let the picture do the speaking, then lowered it. "Stop the service." He keyed his radio. "Catering, hold. Bar, hold. Lighting, stand by." Staff slowed mid-stride. A tray pivoted. The bulbs softened perceptibly. The band stood in that odd half-attention musicians use when the music ends before anyone claps. Murmurs braided into questions. "He can do that? Is this part of it? What happened?" Familiarity stepped toward me, palms open to the room. "Robert, please, whatever this is, don't ruin the day." "You wanted me invisible," I said. "I chose unforgettable." Her lips parted, color drained. She looked at Daniel. Wilmington, my phone, then at the mic, then at the empty seat that should have been mine. "Dad, were you really?" Brun, after paying for the doors to open. A cousin near the band said too loudly, "Who paid?" And the question skittered across tensed faces until it hovered above every table. "This time," I said, hand on the watch, "they have to say my name." Heart pulse. Sarah swallowed. The strong smile she wore all day gave up first at the corners. She faced the room, not her parents. "Robert," she said. My name landed in the air like it had been forbidden. I'm sorry." A hush took the room whole. "I shouldn't have pushed you out," she said, voice thin but true. "You paid. You were there before any of this, your family." Her throat worked around the last word like it finally weighed something. Shone, a relief tear mixed with shame. "Dad," he managed. Astics the watch case shut. One precise metal snap. Judgment rendered. "Position. Resuming service," I told the manager. Gasps. Sarah's mother reached for her husband's arm. He pulled it away without meaning to. The band leader looked to me. I gave him nothing, and he kept his horn down. The manager nodded once, procedural, respectful. Into the mic, per the payer's directive, services remain paused. He lowered his voice, not the authority. "Mr. Hayes, Ms. Whitaker, office now." The room exhaled but didn't move. Forks hovered, eyes followed. Linda stepped to my shoulder, not touching. They're all the same. Daniel took one step, then stopped, trapped between blood and vows he'd let misfile me. I pocketed the watch, the photo still bright, against my palm for a breath before I darkened the screen. "We'll be brief," I said to no one and everyone, and stepped off the low stage toward the manager's door. Position's office smelled like copier toner and citrus cleaner. A short wall clock ticked above a shelf of binders, keeping time as if nothing outside had shifted. The door clicked shut behind us. Me, the manager, Sarah, Daniel, Linda, and a beat later, her parents. The manager took his seat, laced his fingers. "Mr. Hayes," he said, tone formal, "will execute termination per Clause 8. Once signed, services end, and our ledger reflects non-performance at payer request." Sarah stepped forward, palms up. The edges of her voice were raw. "If we cover everything now, resume, can we fix this?" The manager glanced at me, not her. "Authority remains with the payer," her father bristled. "We'll write a check. Name your number." "Authority follows the bill," I said, "and the bill has my name." Debilitating his shoulders, "This is spite. This is boundary," I answered. Daniel looked between us, lost in a room he should have owned. "Can we fix this tonight?" he asked me, voice low, like it was just the two of us. "We can start by telling the truth," I said. The manager opened a drawer and pulled a single page onto a clipboard. "Service termination acknowledgement," he read. "Cites Clause 8. Indicates payer directive. Notes time of execution." He stopped himself from reading further, perhaps remembering. I'd heard enough recitations for one day. He pushed the page toward me and uncapped a stamp. Sarah's mother reached for the form. "Let us handle it." "Yours to handle," I said. Flushed, Linda stood at my shoulder, steady as furniture that never wobbles. "Sign it, Rob," she said softly. "Dignity isn't loud, it's signed. Heart pulse. Preclad." I took the pen. My name landed clear under payer. The manager rotated the page and pressed a round venue seal at the bottom. The ink rose glossy, then dulled, official as a door closing. He added his initials. One copy for their file, one for mine. Kimberly stared at the circle as if it were a ring she couldn't wear. "I'm sorry," she said again, quieter now. No audience to impress. "I am. Did. So am I." Here tried one more angle. "At least let the guests finish dinner. People flew in. Then they can learn what respect costs," I said. "Their flights are paid. My seat wasn't." The manager slid my copy across the desk. "Per policy, we can't restart without the payer." He nodded at the paper. "This locks it." Daniel touched the edge of the document, then snatched his hand back, like paper could burn. "I made this worse." "You made it honest," I said. "Eventually." He swallowed. "What do I do now?" "Tomorrow morning," I said, "you tell the truth to everyone you lied to by staying quiet. Start with yourself." Eyes wet, and for a second he was 10 again, waiting for me to say the world hadn't ended. I didn't say it. Tonight, endings had a purpose. Sarah's parents sputtered out of words. Sarah folded her hands. Linda breathed in, then out, a quiet amen. Commentaries rose. "We're done," he pointed to a shred bin. "If you want the wristbands for staff removed, we'll handle it. The bar will close. House lights will come up. We'll note the reason in our log." "Thank you," I said. It came out level. We filed toward the door. In the hall, the room noise leaked thin and stunned. Cutlery had lost its music. Daniel stopped me with a hand on my sleeve. "Dad, will you come by tomorrow?" "I'll be here," I said, "if tomorrow starts with truth." He nodded, small and grateful. Sarah looked like she wanted to say more. She didn't. Outside the office, Linda tapped my satchel. "Take your copy," she said, tucking the acknowledgement in with the invoices. Chain of custody closed with the simplest motion on earth. I pulled my phone. The alarms from yesterday still sat stacked like old threats. I swiped them away one by one until the screen felt new. Then I set a fresh ping and typed 3 words in the title line. Bank call, 9 a.m. The future didn't need fanfare. It needed a schedule, made a schedule. speaking the watch in my palm to confirm that time wasn't just a tick, but an active participant in our day. The room had only two chairs. Linda was sitting in one, and Daniel was standing. Daniel spoke first. "I'm ready for truth." "You ready for me?" I said. "What's the first thing you think of when you see that number?" "It's just a number," Daniel said. "Not for me. I know it's just a number, but it's the number that's been around since you and I met, and I want to know if it means anything to you now." I looked into his eyes. The answer I'd wanted to hear for decades was right there, but I couldn't take the time to read the story. I leaned over my son and kissed him. "I'll be here." "You have to be," Daniel said. He waited for me to leave, then reached over and turned off the computer. The next morning, Daniel led me to the door. "We need to do this, Dad." The walk to the bank took my mind off the first of many conversations, the watch in my palm. No stage, no mic, just metal and weight. I closed the lid and listened for the small, clean click that sounded like a house locking for the night. Bank call, 9 a.m. Wagas stepped out alone, lighter for the silence. Patience had done what anger never could. It turned dismissal into proof, and proof into justice. At my son's wedding, they tried to erase me. Instead, I learned some names can't be moved off the page. I closed the watch and felt the snap echo in my palm. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment your thoughts below. Type 1 if you resonate with this story.